It's my neighbor's wall. Not the best of sets. Topic for today? I guess we're gonna find out. You know how like there are stages to relationships? There's like the friendship stage, then there's the dating stage, then the serious relationship stage, finally the marriage stage. There's also those stages for photography. Let me explain. So have you ever had a hard time taking photos of like your girlfriend, your husband, your wife, your boyfriend, whoever, your family members, your friends? Yeah, people have trouble with this situation, and even for me with my wife, I had trouble with this, and it's really hard sometimes to take good photos of the people you love. So the easiest way for me to think about this was in terms of like a relationship. So there are 4 stages to the relationship, like I just mentioned. Those 4 stages also can apply to your photographic, oh, I hate it when people do this, your photographic relationship, to your loved one. So let's talk a little bit about how I went with my wife from the friendship stage to the dating stage to the serious relationship stage to the married stage, photographically speaking. So tired. So, the first stage is the friendship stage. The first stage of any relationship is the friendship stage. So this is like where you're just getting to know each other. You're not really sure where it's gonna go. But you know, you're putting your feelers out. Photographically, it has to be the same thing. So with my wife, how I started was, and I mean like we were in the photographic friendship stage for well into our actual serious relationship stage of our actual relationship. She didn't want me to take photos of her face, so I took photos of her back for like what felt like an eternity. It must have been 6 months or even more. So if you're having a hard time with like, you know, your significant other or even like a friend or family member, don't get discouraged. Take photos of whatever they give you. So in that case, she allowed me to take photos of her from behind. So what I started doing was, I realized that just like a real relationship, I had to gain her trust. She didn't know what type of photos I could take. So I took photos of her in situations that she allowed me to, and I tried my best to make those photos as good as possible. Because I knew that eventually she would let me take photos if she liked those photos, if she liked the first photos, the photos of her back. Eventually she'd let me take photos of her face. So it worked out a little bit like that, and you know, it went from just I randomly took a photo of her back to I posed a photo of her back. And then it went to the point where she was telling me what to take. I knew at that point I almost had her. This was like the moment where I knew that I could ask her out photographically. People coming. I'm gonna wait. And yeah, I know I did this, even though I hate it. I hate people that do that. So the second stage, that's of course the dating stage. And you know how the dating stage works, right? This is where you're like experimenting, you're holding hands, you're sneaking a kiss every now and then. You know, photographically, it's almost the same. So photographically, you're sneaking a photo that you wouldn't normally take, you know? So for example, in my case, you know, I was taking photos of my wife, and say I took a photo next to this wonderful wall. So I would wait for her to do that move, this move. And then I would take that photo. And it's amazing because although it was the same thing, eventually I would send them to her as like a joke. Like, oh look, I accidentally took this one a little bit late. And she'd be like, oh, I kind of like it. It's one of those things where like you sneak a kiss with your girlfriend or boyfriend and they kind of like it, and then guess what? They let you do it again. So very similar here. Very similar, but there's also a limit to what you can do. So remember, don't push too far too soon. So, yeah. No means no, kids. No means no. The problem is, I forgot what I was gonna say. The third stage? You know, like the serious relationship stage. That's where things get a little bit more interesting, because in the serious relationship stage, you can push things a little bit, and if it doesn't work out, it's okay. You're in a serious relationship. But you've not put a ring on it yet, as Beyonce would say. So you have to be careful, because you push your luck a little bit too far and you end up in trouble is what happens. Trouble at the serious relationship stage of photography, of your photographic relationship, can also be trouble for your relationship. So the thing is, in the serious relationship part, this is where they can get annoyed. You start carrying your camera everywhere. You start taking photos of everything. They're eating something, they're drinking coffee, they're doing whatever. And the problem is, people don't want to be on camera all the time. So that's where you have to find some balance. So in the serious relationship part, balance is key. Find your balance. And this is both true in real life relationships and photographic relationships. Without balance, you've got nothing, right? Yeah. So the last step is, of course, marriage. You know what happens then. Once you get married, I've only got one real piece of advice, and that's have fun. Because in the end, once you're married, you gotta have fun. You can take the photos you want, till death do us part. All that kind of jazz. The thing is though, at this point, this is where the problem shifts back to you, the photographer, or you, the husband, or you, the wife. Because this is where you start to get bored. And if you're bored, that's no good, right? You don't want to take your camera anymore. You don't think there's anything interesting to take photos of. Or, for example, in real relationship, it's like, well, you don't want to go out, you don't want to do something because you're bored. You've done it all before. Don't let that happen. Don't be the guy who has a super expensive camera but then goes out and uses his phone. I might have said use your phone in the last video, but you get the drift, right? Like, if you've spent money on a camera, use it for something nice. Use it for your loved ones. You don't need to use it for people on the street. Who cares about 10 seconds of some guy on the street? It doesn't matter. The photos that matter are the photos of your loved ones, the people you love, the people you care about. So all I'm going to say is, in the end, the most important thing is to have fun, take photos of the people you love, and enjoy it. Because for us, that's what photography is. Something to enjoy. It's a hobby. So let's do it up. I'm squinty. Oh, look how much sweat there is. But what are you gonna do? So the final moral of the story is this. So if you got through the whole video, thanks so much. Future videos. Next week, cats. This is my cat Mambo. You wanna be in the video? So she's gonna lie down here, I guess. I've got a Peak Design duffel bag with some camera cubes that I'm gonna test. gonna bring them on a trip to Busan. I think I'm gonna do a series of like retro reviews, or like, not reviews, but retro digital stuff. For example, like the Digilux 2. I really like that kind of old digital camera era, so I think I'm gonna do something on that. Can you buzz off? Yeah, other than that, you can look forward to, yeah, that's it really. I'm just gonna own it. Peace! 안녕하세요. 저는 조시입니다. 반갑습니다. 이거는 우리 고양이야. 우리 애기야. 이거는 만보. 만보. 괜찮아? 만보 싫어해? 갔다.